What is it that you're passionate about?
Well, Karen, thank you so much for having me to be a part of this tremendous event. What you are doing to impact the lives of families is immeasurable, actually, because what you do to help a child and to help families to raise up children in that path which way they should go is a matter actually of life and death. Oftentimes we kind of can just go through life and think that we're just going through the motions and, oh, kids are just going through this and families are just going through this. But what you are doing to impact a child's life in a family, it changes, it can change the course and direction of the way that they were going. And so I appreciate you trusting me and allowing me and inviting me to be a part of this as you serve and to be able to co-labor with you. It is an honor and a pleasure. And I'm super excited to just get on here tonight and to share some of my story, some of my background, some of what I've learned in terms of helping families and children, so that others can be encouraged as well. My story and background it's pretty diverse. A lot has happened in it, but I'll give you some of the highlights. I've been blessed in life to have my own children. I had a daughter born to me, and then after that I had twins born to me. And as I shared with you, I was previously married. I'm not anymore, but during the time I was married, I was working as a social worker early in that process, and there were some boys that were getting bounced around on this caseload, and I just felt like I wanted to do more than just be their caseworker. So I talked to my wife at the time and asked her, could I resign my position so that we could adopt and be a foster parents to these young boys? And she agreed. And we did that, and we were able to serve them. And she had siblings that were in the system at that time. And so they came and they lived with us. So I tell people that in my first couple of years of marriage, I had 8 children because my wife had a child, and so I had a child gifted to me at that time. So I said I had 8 children. I saw one be born. I saw twins be born. I had 2 boys that came, actually 3 boys through the foster care system. I had 2 teenagers that when they came with us, they were already teenagers. So there was a lot going on. I helped them get into high school. They went on to college and graduated. And so there was a lot going on. And so I understand what it means when you're looking at lots of different lives, or if you're looking at one person's life, you're looking at one child's life, and you're trying to understand, how can I help this child maximize their potential? Mm-hmm. Because truthfully, that's what we're here to do. When I was in school, when I was growing up, there were a couple things that I wanted to do. One, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I said this from the time that I was probably 4 years old. I wanted to play pro ball. And as life would have it, I ended up, I lived in California at the time. I lived in a professional baseball player's home. He was a part of our church. My dad's a pastor. He was a part of our church. And so we actually lived in his home, and I was able to go to a lot of baseball games, be in the locker rooms. I went to spring training. I had a lot of exposure to these professional athletes. He would talk to me. He would, to this day, he's one of my friends on Facebook, this athlete, this baseball player. He would call me pro. I remember him. He always addressed me as pro. And he was planting a seed in my life to be a professional athlete. He was encouraging this dream for me to be a professional athlete. He was a professional athlete, so he wasn't diminishing it. He was encouraging it. And he called me pro. And it makes me think about the way that we use words to impact the lives of our children. This is what I believe. I believe that we all have faith, but sometimes we have a greater faith for the negative than we do for the positive.
Wow.
Because faith comes by hearing. And so if you want to move towards the negative, rehearse the negative, and you will have faith for the negative. So many people believe, I can't do it. It's not possible for me. I'll never amount to much. They replay this script over and over and over inside of their own head, in their own hearing. They pronounce it off their lips. But when we say something off of our own lips, it goes into our own ears. Mm-hmm. And so we get to be aware of that. And so this athlete, Mike Davis, he played for the Oakland A's. He played for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He would call me pro. And he was playing for the Dodgers when the Dodgers won the World Series. And so if you're familiar with baseball, there's this great part of the World Series where Kirk Gibson hits this epic home run and he's hobbling around the bases. And it's just this real great historical baseball moment. But this man, Mike Davis, he was on first base. He was there and allowed the Dodgers to end up tying the game, and they go on to win the World Series. And so when they won the World Series, they get these championship rings. And he got me a duplicate of this ring, and he gave me a duplicate of their championship ring, sowing a seed into my life. Wow. Of belief, of hope. He let me be around. See, what happened was he was encouraging a seed, and I want to show you something. So to date, I live in Pennsylvania, and I have a farm in Pennsylvania, and here I have a lot of watermelon seeds, okay? A lot of watermelon seeds. Now, I just told you they're watermelon seeds. So we have an expectation that in this container, if they stay here, we have an expectation that these seeds will never grow. Why? Because it's the wrong environment. Well, how do we know it's the wrong environment? Because with the little that we do know, and see, here's one of the things I want to say to encourage the parents. Sometimes we can get overwhelmed because we're trying to figure out how to best serve our child, and we don't know this, and we don't know that, and we don't know this. Let's take a moment. Let's stop, because I know how it feels. Before I ever had children, I wasn't a dad, right? It took me having a child in order to become a dad and the responsibilities, but I knew some things. I knew some things about people. I knew some things about children, right? And so we can take what we know, the little bit, it may be a little bit, but we take the little bit that we know and we begin to start tending it. We begin to start working with the little that we know. So the question is, and I oftentimes will encourage people, get out a notebook, right? Get out a notebook. And as you begin to study your child and study your environment and study your situations, keep a notebook. Why? Because if you study to show yourself worthy in any particular area, it will help you grow and you won't have to be ashamed. And so I could start taking some notes. What do I know? I know that these watermelon seeds are in a plastic container. I know that there's no soil in this container. What else do I know? I know that seeds need soil. I know that seeds need something to activate them in terms of water. Do I know exactly how much? Let me just tell you. This year was my first year doing watermelon seeds at the farm, planting watermelon and wanting to grow them. And I had to learn how this all worked out. I didn't have it down to, every finite detail of how much to water and all that stuff. Part of the journey is in discovering. Now, this is a special word, discovering. We oftentimes say discover, and we say it really fast, right? But I want you to slow down for a moment and think about discover. Dis meaning not, cover meaning conceal. So the prefix dis means not, cover means conceal. So now what we are doing as parents, we are on a journey to no longer conceal what is there within our child.